What is up, Mandalorians? Welcome to a brand new review and breakdown for The Mandalorian Season 2, Chapter 10, or Episode 2, whatever. But this episode I found to be a very entertaining, charming, and obviously self-contained episode. Right off the bat, I want to address something because I just got done from watching the episode, went to Twitter to see some of the reactions, and yeah, there's quite a few echoes of the same sentiments going around. Now, I'm not going to read any names out, I'm just going to read some quotes, literally. One of the worst episodes yet. There is no story to this show, and it feels like it has just gone nowhere. In 10 episodes. There's so much potential, but I just want to plot. People really overhype this show because it's about a Mandalorian, an incredibly dull character. Chapter 10 was a huge setback from what we got in 9, lol, but it's still okay. Didn't like this episode. I've genuinely loved every episode of this series thus far, but Chapter 10 was a walloping disappointment. Another reply here, the worst episode. So I don't know, reading that, it's just interesting because I really didn't feel that way. I've heard this from friends in real life as well, but also just mainly the internet, like I read out those quotes just now, in saying that there's episodes to The Mandalorian that really just feel like complete disappointing fillers. Or for example, like this episode, it's like, oh, what was this? That was like the worst episode. It's like, I don't feel that way. As like a genuine Star Wars fan, and I'm not trying to play that card where it's like, you're not a real Star Wars fan if you didn't enjoy this. I mean, you can enjoy and dislike whatever the heck you want. It doesn't bother me. But as a true lover of Star Wars, at least in my own eyes, this episode, I didn't think that. Granted, I can acknowledge a lot of the criticisms here that I feel a lot of people are putting out. I don't think, there's one thing that people don't necessarily realize about The Mandalorian, I feel, and I've reiterated this so many times before in my previous reviews, you may remember me talking about it. I don't think a lot of people understand that this show, The Mandalorian, also serves episode, like, I literally tweeted this. I think I actually tweeted this. So going back to the tweets of things, let's read out my own one in reaction to what I thought of those people tweeting out what I read out before. Jesus, people are overreacting to Chapter 10, saying it was one of the worst episodes. I think people don't realize that The Mandalorian as a show serves episodes that are also self-contained Star Wars tales. I end it with just saying, enjoy it, don't charge up your Death Star lasers just because there wasn't a Darksaber. And that's honestly, like, that isn't meant to be like a low blow dig. I honestly feel like the mass population out there who may enjoy Star Wars but may not be insanely into it might watch an episode like this, or one of the episodes of last season, for example, where Cara Dune met Mando and you had to save the village, like fillery-esque episodes like that. And just because to these fans there wasn't like some main plot moving thing like Moff Gideon, or there wasn't a Darksaber ignited, or just something like that, fans are just like, oh, this is bad. This is bad. Well, I don't know about you, but to me, I really enjoyed the Star Wars-centric tales. There is an overarching plot still to obviously find these other Mandalorians. Yet again, that was referenced at least several times throughout this episode. But along the way, as a consequence of this overall quest, if you will, to try and find Baby Yoda's people, or at least at this point, other Mandalorians to eventually get to that end goal, he comes across these other tales that you probably would, I don't want to say realistically, because this isn't real, come across, you know, in your voyage to get this done. So for example, last episode he came across another Mandalorian who didn't turn out to be a Mandalorian, but it turned out to be Boba Fett's armor, which was really cool, but he had to kill a crate dragon to get that. But it was just like, I really enjoy watching that. Star Wars, to me, this show is very Star Wars. It lives and breathes Star Wars, but in such a unique way that I think a lot of fans, even though a lot of fans are still complaining, do still enjoy. So these filler episodes give you life and breath of other areas and other pockets and corners of the Star Wars universe, like seeing Tusken Raiders band together with a human settlement on Tatooine, killing a crate dragon, or saving a village from a post-Empire AT-ST walker from these like groups of people who are just, I don't know, oppressing a village. It's still very Star Wars, and yet we get to watch a Mandalorian go about tackling these issues. I don't complain at that. Maybe, just maybe, if literally every episode but one of the season was everything but, I don't know, some main plot development, I would be with you guys, those who are really digging on episodes like this one in particular. But I do still feel like this show gives us everything we want. So it gives us the main plot stuff, and when it does offer those things, just you wait till we get Ahsoka this season. Just you wait until you see that Darksaber duel with Mando or whoever Moff Gideon frickin' fights with the Darksaber. Those episodes, those main plot ones, they slam hard, and you guys know that, and they are coming. And I am looking forward to those, but these episodes to me, like this very one today, Chapter 10, which was very Baby Yoda themed centric, I still really enjoy. I don't think there was one moment in this episode where I thought, like, come on, can we move it along? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't get that. I loved seeing, which you can assume to be Ilum. I have to admit, this is why I said I want to draw some of, like, the criticisms out. I felt like, at least from the trailer, when a lot of us were breaking down Ilum and seeing, oh, what could happen on Ilum, because we saw Mando from this very episode walking in the cave in the trailer, and it's like, oh, what's going on there? I was hoping there would be a little bit more to Ilum than, I guess, just, you know, crashing the ship and then flying off. And yeah, I do agree in a sense that this episode didn't necessarily have a whole bunch going on. If you think about it, yet again, he wanted to find Mandalorians. As a result, he had to do something, which was, you know, escort Frog Lady. Literally, the subtitle was called a Frog Lady, so we're just calling her that, through to a certain sector where her husband had carved out a whole new life for them so they could, you know, carry on their family line due to these eggs that she was carrying, but they can't be traveled during hyperspace, otherwise they'll be destroyed. So he had to travel, I believe, at sublight speed, which led him to getting picked up by the New Republic X-Wings. One of them was Dave Filoni, which was great to see. I enjoy stuff like this. And then as a result of trying to escape the New Republic, because they picked up that he was in the vicinity of the New Republic transport ship last season, if you guys remember that whole episode where they went on that mission to bust one of the members out, but as a result he got like most of them locked up. I really like how that bounced back into this episode from last season, and yeah, they wanted to pursue the Mandalorian, and he ended up crashing on what looked to be Ilum, and it just turned out to be like a bit of a, oh, what's gonna happen episode. He needs to fix the Razor Crest. There's a bit of danger. I knew there would be some kind of danger in this episode. In the trailer, there was a spider on top of the Razor Crest, although I didn't expect the amount of danger we did get in this episode, because that was, yeah, let me just say I don't really like spiders, so yeah. But my point here, bottom line, is that it still was a very, very entertaining, charming episode where I was literally throughout it wondering what was going to happen. I wasn't bored. I felt like I was rooting for the Frog Lady, and I felt bad for her whenever Baby Yoda was freaking eating one of her kids. Literally, what the hell, Baby Yoda? I have to imagine those people were really, you know, saying that this episode was like disgustingly disappointing compared to Chapter 9. You do realize Chapter 9, whilst it did have a lot more of a grander, I guess, crate dragon, but I have to say I was still extremely impressed by the Ilum spider that we got, you know, the big one. I thought, wow, 2 episodes in a row, you're really chucking amazing action and CGI in there. Don't forget, Chapter 9 literally had the Mandalorian with no main massive plot points. He was, yet again, the same as this episode, going to look for a Mando, didn't turn out to be a Mando, turned out to be Cobb Vanth, you know, obviously the Marshal, and it turned into another side quest kind of thing. Just like this episode. So I don't know why people were flaming so hard. Some of my favorite parts of this episode were obviously from the very beginning, where we had Mando still on that speeder bike. I would be lying to you guys if I didn't say that I was still hoping, well, oh man, like what if Boba is in pursuit of him now? That would have been absolutely crazy. I was thinking, as I thought that, probably they're not going to go there, but obviously the end of the last episode left off with Boba Fett kind of walking towards the camera, and Mando using his swoop bike, speeder bike in the distance there, and this episode picked up with that. So I was thinking, wow, are they going to continue it off with Boba pursuing him? And we didn't get any Boba this episode. Who knows really what is going to happen with him? If we're going to see him again this season, I think there will be another nod. That intro with those mercenaries trying to go after Baby Yoda was absolutely hilarious. Seeing Mando use his jetpack to completely like abort the guy into the sky, and he recovered it. That was really cool to see. But obviously a really big thing about this episode was for the Baby Yoda and Mandalorian lovers. Their relationship with each other was really, really, I don't know. I don't think they overplayed it, because I think, how could you not like seeing cute Baby Yoda moments? There was a lot of father and son moments. Even as of that moment I was just speaking about, when he gets free and he starts running after him, like into his arms, like, you know, a little kid to its dad. That was, I can't talk about this cuteness forever, because I really could. But yeah, I think I trust you guys know what I mean. Also, just that comment from Mando saying, don't hurt the child. If you put one mark on him, there's no place you'll be able to hide from me. And I know I briefly mentioned this already, but on this other note, I really felt for the frog lady. I don't know why. Maybe it's the really talented designs and production of the costume department, but I love the practical prosthetics of Star Wars. How this just turned into this little side quest. I know maybe not every viewer here is a gamer and you don't play MMORPGs like some Star Wars ones out there, but this episode, this isn't a criticism or trying to downplay it, but it felt like a side quest. It literally felt like a side quest, but I was more than happy enough to watch that. Never did I expect the Razor Crest to be filled with a bunch of little offspring eggs of this frog lady, credited to the subtitles there, that Mando had to deliver. And then Baby Yoda is eating her children alive. If you look at that on paper, tell me that sounds bad. I would always watch an episode like that of The Mandalorian. So I really felt sorry for her, especially when she was like shivering and she took off like her coat, if you will, or robe, and put it over her eggs, because it looked like when she was trying to get a hold of the Mandalorian's attention that the charge was running out of keeping them warm, so they had to get to their destination fairly quickly. So them crash landing, should I say, on Ilum was just like the worst thing that could happen. I also feel like Baby Yoda really is growing up a little bit more now. I feel like he's communicating a bit more, because at this point, yet again, I had the subtitles on, but I didn't really need to, but it said the child is like saying gibberish, and he was trying to get a hold of the Mandalorian, actually speaking whatever cooey language he does. And in this moment, he tried to point out the footprints to Mando of the frog lady walking into that little hot spring on Ilum, just chilling, which was really random as well, to be fair. But yeah, like he was literally, I don't think he's done this before in this much language, speaking to Mando, saying, look, basically, come over here and look, footprints. Let's go after the lady. And as I said in my trailer breakdowns, it would have been really cool to see like a Kyber crystal on the wall or something like that. Yet again, to go down the Baby Yoda route, he was so mischievous this episode, like relentlessly so, not only killing. This is the last line of this woman's family. She can't produce any more eggs as of this last batch. One moment that really reminded me of Alien was towards the end, where Baby Yoda went amongst those little eggs. I knew what was going to happen. I didn't exactly expect a face hugger to like just go on Baby Yoda's face. But yeah, they all started obviously kind of crackling through the spiders. Big trouble, and more. Crazy cute Baby Yoda moments that followed that. And then, of course, it goes to that moment where they're escaping the spiders and the big spider. The action I already mentioned earlier, which of what I thought the effects were really good. The CGI was really good, but it turns out those rebel pilots came to help Mando, and they ended up forgiving him, or not forgiving him, but letting him go, because even though he was involved in the New Republic transport kind of bust up last season, because he also has records of apprehending 3 priority culprits from the wanted register in that very same episode last season, and putting his own life in harm's way to try and protect that of Davan, I believe Davan from the New Republic. And that could have been that very pilot. I think it's that pilot in that security room, but he was like, no, he didn't want Boba to kill him, if you remember. It could be that guy. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. Either way, they got into space. All was well again, kind of, even though the ship looks very busted up, and he was going to obviously continue going to the destination for Frog Lady to obviously birth the new little offspring that she has, and hopefully her husband, because her husband, I believe, saw the Mandalorians, or has information about the other Mandalorians, because I think the main kind of thing out of this episode, the one kind of little seed, because it wasn't really expanded upon, is that her husband, or she has information at least, of a Mandalorian covert that is close in the sector. So I think next episode we'll be starting off of that route, and it won't be kind of a fillery-esque episode. Don't get me wrong, this was fillery-esque, but I just don't think every filler is to be slammed down with a freaking cane as if the episode's to be punished, when I really do feel like, which I keep rambling on about in this review, is still extremely entertaining. And of course, right at the end of the episode, Baby Yoda looked at the eggs, and then it turns out the cheeky bastard had one in his hand, and he ate another one. So he's killed off like at least 5 or 6 of their siblings in that little jar or little container or whatever. And I love how he also used the Force at the beginning to like bring them closer to him. Baby Yoda just freaking eats anything. But overall, like, yeah, this episode didn't have a whole bunch going on. it really didn't, if you think about it. But that, once again, without repeating myself too much more, I think you guys really get the picture by now. And I assume a lot of you didn't really have as much of a problem as some other people did with the episode. It is still provided an adventure, one that I was thoroughly entertained by. And I think my closing thoughts are, as I kind of mentioned earlier, if this episode, like this episode, even though I really enjoyed it still, happened again for Chapter 11, so Episode 3, Episode 4 as well, without any kind of, like, you know, crucial development by that point in the season, considering, you know, that there's not like 22 episodes to a Mando season, then it would be a bit concerning. Like, I'm sure I would have enjoyed those episodes, but then it would have been a bit like, okay, so is there really going to be any stuff? But this is episode 2, guys, of the second season, and people are like really melting down. Like, I really think there's nothing to worry about. So what did you think of this episode? Let me know down in the comments below. Are you on board with what I'm saying? Or do you think that I'm just too much of a fan of The Mandalorian? I can't get my head out the sand and see that it is just a boring, disappointing filler episode. I don't think I'm under any delusions, because as I said, like, if it carried on like this, then I would see a bit of a problem. Or do you think that it was really good and people are kicking up a little bit of a fuss over nothing? And I do stand firm with that. I think since this is such a popular show, that's something we can't forget about. This goes way beyond even Star Wars fans now. Like, and I think you are aware of that anyway. Baby Yoda became such an icon, like, out there, to the point where even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you are watching this show. So I think some people's attention spans are just like thinking, what is this? Like, where is the main cool stuff with the dark saber? Like, what's going on? Like, what is this? I think those are the people who are saying that. I could be wrong, though. Let me know your thoughts. Aside from that, everyone, like this video if you did enjoy it. I talk about The Mandalorian each and every week in the episode reviews and breakdowns. But thank you so much for watching. Hope you all of you Mandalorians have a lovely rest of your day. And may the Force be with you always. Goodbye.